Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if this is your first time here. My name is Dana. I'm a mama to 4, 2 of which I am currently homeschooling, and on my channel I love sharing our homeschooling journey as well as just simple living and motherhood. But if that is something that interests you, I'd love to have you join our family, and you can do so by subscribing down below. So as you can tell from the title, today I'm actually going to be sharing with you just an October recap, kind of how that went for our family and what that looked like. But let's go ahead and just jump right into today's video. So overall, for the month of October, our actual homeschool went very, very well, and I am so thankful for that. It is funny that at the beginning of the school year, I kind of had an idea of what I wanted our homeschool to look like. However, it has taken us about 3 months to get to that point, and so I am very thankful that we are now at the point to where our family's rhythm and routine and kind of quote-unquote schedule has become almost second nature to everyone in our family, to the point where we don't necessarily rely on the charts and the things like that to get us going from one thing to the next. Everything is just flowing beautifully and very well and everything like that. However, just to throw this out there, that does not mean that every day is perfect. It's quite the opposite. Every single day obviously is going to have its ups and downs and its curveballs and things like that. And I mentioned that quite a few times on my channel, that is one of the things that makes life the adventure that it is. So all that to say, it has been a great month, and again, not perfect, but wonderful and great. So for the actual homeschool curriculum side of things, it really does take me 2 to 3 months of using a said curriculum really consistently before I really get a good feel for kind of how it is and how it will work for my little people. And I am again very thankful that everything is going very well as far as our curriculum. And this is a first for me. I normally, honestly, this time of year have every year so far, granted this is only my 3rd year actually full-time homeschooling, but this is my first year actually not switching things out or trading things out and things like that. The only things I have made so far this year was adding some things in versus switching things out, if that makes sense. And the things I added in, you will have already known by now, but that was just adding in my kindergartner's Good and the Beautiful math and language arts curriculum. And that has been the only actual addition, but we haven't had to change things. My little guy is still loving and thriving off of his CLE curriculum. He absolutely loves that. And then, like I just mentioned, my kindergartner is loving the Good and the Beautiful. So both of those curriculums have just fit our family so well. Very, again, thankful for them. And yeah, our curriculum has been going very well. I'll probably do an updated video, like do a lesson with us type thing when it comes to our CLE program. That is a program that I really do want to share because mostly I don't hear a ton about it. It's not one of those like trendy, popular curriculums, if you know what I mean. But it's just great, and it works well for our family. So I would like to share that more in depth and do a lesson kind of with us, if that makes sense. So anyway, yeah, all that to say, our curriculum is still going great. As far as my goals that I set last month and whether or not I actually accomplished them in October, most of them I actually did accomplish when it comes to our homeschool. So I actually accomplished my goal of wanting to lower my expectations. Yes, my love. What is it, baby? Trying to figure out where I left off. Anyway, yes, we were able to accomplish most of the goals that we did set for October, which my main goal for our homeschool was honestly having to do with me and just lowering my expectations when it comes to what our homeschool will look like. And I think I finally did grasp a good understanding and concept of what that will actually like for real life look like. And so I finally have lowered them enough to where I can expect certain things, but I also don't expect the wrong things, if that makes sense. So it's a healthy expectation, I should say, when it comes to what that will look like for us. And it did take me a few months to get there because, again, this is my first time as a mama of 4 getting back into the homeschooling realm of things. So I was able to do that, praise the Lord. And then as far as our read alouds that I wanted to do, and I don't actually know if I shared our read aloud goals in September, but I was hoping to get at least 3 read alouds, and they weren't huge read alouds. I mean, typically we can do about 1 a week if I am consistent in doing it every day, but we only got 2 done. And let me show you what those are real quick. There are 2 that we completed with my little kids. The first one is The Trumpet of the Swan by Evie White. This one is a fantastic one. If you're not familiar with it, highly recommend. And then the other one that we did, and I have shared this a couple times before on my channel, especially when it comes to kind of my kids' favorite nature books specifically, but this is the Old Homestead Tales. This is the Bluebirds and Their Neighbors. I love this series as well, the Bluebirds and Their Neighbors. It's just really fun. And they almost kind of like personify the animals, so the animals kind of come to life and interact with each other. like animals on the old homestead, so to speak. So they moved back into their home, and it's just really sweet. If you're not familiar with the old homestead tales, again, I would definitely check them out. They're great, especially if your kiddos like animals and anything critter related. So one of the things that surprised me the most when it comes to our actual homeschool realm of things is we actually homeschooled on average 5 days a week. And that was very surprising to me for the month of October. Now we did take a family trip, but apart from that weekend, or long weekend I should say, we did do 5 days a week. And then again, that was very surprising to me. The kids loved the flow and the rhythm that the day kind of provided. And so yeah, they wanted to do it. And I was like, well, thank the Lord for that as well, because that's kind of like my goal in my homeschool, is to where I make it. It's not necessarily a chore for the little people, but they just want to do it and they love to do it and things like that. So I was surprised by that. And again, very thankful that that is something that they actually wanted to do. Oh, did we fall? Do we need some love? Oh, good. Anyway, so that was our month of October when it comes to our homeschooling. Now for our actual family life, for October, it went very, very well. October is actually our family's favorite month ever. Like, we love October, and I really like it too. I've always liked fall in general. I like the changes of the seasons, especially from summer to fall, because around us, typically August and some of September is really kind of like muggy and kind of stagnant, if that makes sense. So having that relief, so to speak, of like the the very humid mornings and things like that is just beautiful. Anyway, the beginning of October, we celebrated my oldest 7th birthday, so that was exciting. We took him out to dinner. We love doing more experience type things for gifts, and then also kind of letting the kids pick out their own things, if that makes sense. So we went out to dinner with them. We took him to his favorite restaurant, and then I think ideally he had, I think it was like a big tractor combine thing in mind for an actual gift. So we went to a couple different farming stores near us that would have those types of toys. They didn't have something that he ideally really wanted, so instead he picked out this big like toy snake thing. So I was like, okay. So that was his big thing, and he just loved it. I love kind of living through my children with their joy and those types of things. And he just had a ton of fun walking through the stores and picking out things, and it was just a lot of fun. And then a few days later, we took our first road trip as a family of 6. We went to St. Louis. I actually did have a vlog posted, the first episode of the vlog anyway, on my channel here, but I bumped it over to my vlogging channel, and I just started that channel a little bit ago, just to keep a little bit of the more travel-y type of vlogging content separate than my homeschooling content. So if you are interested in joining me over there, I'd love to have you. I'll have that channel linked down below. I did post the first, second, and third parts of that trip, so if you want to go check that out and to see what we did in St. Louis, again, I'd love to have you, and I'll have that link down below. So with our trip to St. Louis, again, it was a combination of celebrations. So we were celebrating my son's birthday, on top of being able to meet up with some wonderful friends and family, on top of celebrating my husband and I's 10th anniversary. So that was so much fun to kind of combine all these celebrations into one weekend. And again, just so many memories were made. We loved it. And then we came home. It was the second week of October. We went back into school and everything. And the third week, again, back into our rhythm. And then by the fourth week of October, we all caught a little bit of a cold. So we were kind of getting over that and everything. But apart from that, it wasn't anything that we actually had to like stop doing school, if that makes sense for. But the kids have loved the month of October, and we have too. So that was kind of the month for our homeschool and our family life. So for me personally, the goals that I really had for myself for October specifically was I wanted to do a solid full month of the Fly Lady Clean method, and I will have that video probably not next week, but in 2 weeks from when you will be seeing this video, I will have my first Fly Lady kind of routine and what that looks like for us video out. I am really excited to share with you. I've been kind of documenting my journey for the past month and a half, but before I shared a video with you, I wanted to have almost 2 solid months of the routine so I can share with you kind of what worked, what maybe not have worked for our family specifically, and how I tweaked it to work for our family. So I am very excited to be sharing that with you soon. It has honestly made such a huge valuable difference in our home and in my life in general, just having those rhythms and routines down when it comes to maintaining my home, because it is something that I value as very important, and it means a lot to me personally to make sure my home is kept up well. So I always make coffee whenever I film, and then I never drink it when it's hot. So another personal goal that I had for the month of October for me personally was to read at least 2 books, and I did. I'm very excited about that. And I did share these books with you first on my video when I was talking about attending the True Women Conference, and this is where I got these 2 books. But the first one that I absolutely loved is Aging with Grace. It's Flourishing in an Anti-Aging Culture, and I loved this book. It was great. It was beautiful, beautiful reminder of what a privilege it is to grow old and the wisdom that comes with that. And then my all-time favorite for the month and probably for the year so far, I do have a couple more books coming up that might overtake this, I'm not sure yet, but that is Heaven Rules. And this one has been amazing. It is based off the book of Daniel in the Bible, and I have loved walking through the entire book of Daniel from cover to cover. Now, I have read the book of Daniel from cover to cover before, but it's never been in such a short amount of time. It's always been like when I'm doing the Bible from Genesis to Revelation, like the whole Bible read through. In a year, I have done it, but it's almost like whenever I feel like I'm doing the whole Bible read through from like Genesis to Revelation, I feel like even though it's great to do that, I feel like a lot of the times I'm not taking time to contemplate what I'm reading. I'm just reading it, if that makes sense. So being able to slowly from cover to cover go through Daniel along with such a great book that really brings it to life, and it really does put that idea in your mind that heaven will always rule is amazing. So for future goals, as far as what I would love to accomplish in November, for me personally, I'm going to do my solid 3rd month. Well, it will almost be my 3rd month of doing the Fly Lady. I wanted to stay consistent with that to again really make it to where, and again I will explain this in the Fly Lady video, really get it to where my zone cleaning and everything like that is very fast and simple because all the decluttering and the processes and things like that have already been done. So the longer you do Fly Lady, I feel like the easier it becomes, quite literally. So anyway, I'm going to continue to be doing that. That's going to be a personal goal of mine. And then I have 2 more books I'm also going to be reading for the month of November. The first one, and again I did get this at that same conference, so you will have seen this in this video. One is brand new. This is the one that I have had on my shelf for a few weeks now. This is Gentle and Lowly. I've heard great things about it, and I am so excited to finally be starting this one. And then the other one that was actually recommended by another YouTube mama, and I honestly forget who recommended this, but I got it per her recommendation. If I can remember her name, I'll have the channel link down below. But this is Risen Motherhood by Emily Jensen and Laura Whiffler, I believe. So I am so excited. It's the gospel. It really does bring hope, freedom, and joy in every area of motherhood. So I am excited to read this specifically. I've just heard some great things about this. So this is more about motherhood and my walk with Christ within motherhood, and then the heart of Christ for sinners and sufferers. So I'm digging more into Christ's character and things like that. So I am excited to do those 2 books. I love adding new books to my shelf. I feel like they are such a valuable resource. That is the one thing that I do not keep minimal in my home. I'm just like, bring all the books in. So that is the one thing that I have a lot of in our house. So it's been fun, and I love that. Anyway, so that is my personal goal for November, is just those 2 books and then maintaining that method. For the homeschooling goal, and I got this idea, and I'm so thankful I watched her video from Wendy over at Play and Prep Pray. I'll have her channel linked down below. I highly recommend you go check that channel out. She is so inspirational and a sweet mama. I have loved watching her videos, and I find them to be so encouraging. So especially if you are interested in biblical motherhood, parenting, marriage, and just homeschooling in general, definitely check her channel out. So anyway, what I was saying is she had a recent video, and she was talking about having flexible goals in her home. And I was first of all really excited to hear that, because I hear of flexibility and then I hear of like goals, but I very rarely hear them combined to be a benefit and kind of be a benefit to each other. Because normally when flexibility comes in my mind anyway, I don't think of having goals, because if you're too flexible, then can you have goals, and then the vice versa. But the way she does it, for example, is so instead of saying, well, we're going to do this many days of school this month, instead of doing that, she'll be like, well, we're going to do 15 lessons out of this curriculum for this month, which means if you finished all 15 lessons sooner than expected, then your kiddos get to take a break for the rest of the month because you completed the goal of 15 lessons. And I love that, because the kids can also get a sense of what that goal is, because they know, okay, from lesson 30 to 45, if you get that done, and anytime this month, if you complete it before the end of the month, guess what? You get free days. You don't have to do that curriculum. And I love that idea to have the actual flexible goals, and more so because you're kind of scheduling in those kind of, I don't know, you're kind of scheduling in flexibility, so to speak. So you're scheduling in whether or not, like she said, you have birthdays to celebrate, or if you have sick days, or the holidays coming up, you're kind of accounting for that already by saying, okay, you want to do 15 lessons. If that means you need to double up on a day, then that's fine, but that doesn't mean necessarily per se that you have to do an extra day. It just means an extra lesson, if that makes sense. And I love that idea. But on those days where they do want to do more school, I am excited to kind of try this method out to where I can kind of schedule in that flexibility to where, again, like she said, our target for each curriculum will be 15 lessons, and then we'll just try to accomplish 15 lessons out of each curriculum for each month. And I love that idea because I'm not concentrating on the days, but more about the amount that gets done, if that makes sense. And then again, gives me more flexibility towards the end of the month if we can complete everything that we need to. So yeah, that is my personal goals and our homeschooling goals for November. As far as our family goals, we do have 2 more kind of weekend little day trips coming up that we are excited to do before it gets too cold. So we're gonna take advantage of that. And then my husband and I are probably gonna try to go out for an evening with baby, of course, sometime this week as well. Maybe do some thrifting, go out to dinner and things like that as a kind of belated anniversary type celebration. So that will be fun. And apart from that, and then of course we do have Thanksgiving in November as well. But apart from that, just a very simple and slow month. So I am excited about that, as well as just like living in the thankfulness and the grace that God has given us. So we are excited for November. And then again, I will give you a November recap of how it actually went and to share kind of how that flexible goal idea went for us as well. And I'll share that video in the beginning of December. But until my next video, I hope you guys have a great one. I do appreciate every single one of you being here and for watching my videos. It means a lot and I appreciate it. But you guys have a great day, whatever you're doing, and God bless. Bye.